If there's one thing that I've put a huge focus on when building my business, it's creating a personal brand that's recognizable and allows me to have more authority with my followers, but also with potential brand partners. So, today we're going to be talking all about building a personal brand and why I think that is one of the most important foundational steps that you can take as a content creator to build your business. I'm Kristen Busquet. I've been a full-time creator for over 3 years, and I've brought in over $350,000 from sponsored posts and content creation collaborations with brands so far. Soulcial Scoop is the podcast where we teach you, the entrepreneurial creator, to turn your online influence and creativity into a profitable, self-sustaining business. Let's first talk about what a personal brand actually is. Your personal brand is what people are going to think of when they think about you. Typically, when I meet someone new, one of the first things that they start to relate with me is social media. So, a part of my brand is definitely related to social media. When we get even further into the weeds, my personal brand is not just social media, it's more about creating a sustainable business as a content creator and teaching you guys how to actually do that. So when people think about, oh, I want to be a creator, how should I do that? I want to be one of the first people that they think of to actually help them. And that's where having a solid personal brand actually comes in. You become the go to person for someone when they're thinking about something specific. And this can be so important for you as a content creator because realistically, there are so many content creators out there. You need to stand apart from them and be an authority that someone is going to look to when they're looking for something specific. You're not just a random person who posts videos on the internet, right? You are an expert, you are a friend, you are someone that someone goes to learn something. And everything that you do on the internet is going to help bring that point home. And that's what a personal brand looks like. There's so much power in having a personal brand, and we're going to talk about why this can be so important. First things first, credibility with your audience. Having a solid personal brand truly establishes trust and authority between you and your audience. For example, who would you trust more? Someone who maybe made a video or two about making money as a creator, or me who's been talking about it for multiple years. Obviously, it seems based off of just the amount of time and energy that I'm putting into making this my personal brand that I probably do know more than the person who's posted one or two videos about it. So the more you create a consistent personal brand, the more trust people are going to have in what you're actually saying. I know that my personal brand is solidified because of this one thing. I very often have people who tag me in things or reach out to me, and they're always related to creator monetization. For example, just last week on Threads, someone posted that they were looking to talk on a podcast with someone about creator monetization. Does anyone know? And I had multiple people tag me in this because that's one of the first things that people think about when they think about me and my content. Meaning that my personal brand is fairly solidified. People would trust vouching for me to get me on this podcast, knowing that I know what I'm talking about. Having this strong of a personal brand truly does help you stand out in a very crowded landscape as well. And I think that is the second most valuable thing about having a personal brand. It gives you this really strong competitive edge, right? Like when people are going to your content and they're going to look at, a piece of content about something, and then they go to someone else who's in their niche, they're going to choose between those two people who feels like they can trust them more. Like, who are they going to trust the information from? Who are they going to go to get that information? And when you have that strong personal brand, you're able to stand out from all the other people in your niche. And this actually starts to play into the niche conversation. We did a whole episode on should you have a niche? And honestly, I think it's something that people have such mixed feelings about. But me personally, I stand very strong in I think you should have a niche. If you don't want to call it a niche, whatever. But I think you should have a mission, something that you stand for. Why are you creating content? You okay, Luna? Because how are you supposed to build a strong personal brand if you don't have a specific mission or purpose that you're working towards? Even the people who don't feel like they have a specific niche have a niche, I promise you. Your niche doesn't need to be something as specific as one word that can perfectly describe you. For example, you don't have to be fashion creator, beauty creator. I do think that's very difficult. And that's where the niche conversation gets tough, where people say, I don't think you need to have one because how can you fit into a box where it's one word and that's all you create? I don't think that's what a niche should look like. A niche should be the mission that you're working towards. For example, maybe it's helping mothers postpartum feel like their most confident selves. You might post fashion, beauty, lifestyle, parenting, home decor. You can talk about all of those different things, but your niche is just that, helping postpartum moms feel their most confident, right? Like that is a niche right there. And as long as you can have something specific like that, that you're able to really dive deep into and have that become a huge part of your personal brand, I think that does make it so much easier for you to be known for something and be the go to person for something. Having a really strong personal brand also absolutely unlocks brand new opportunities for you that you very likely won't have unless your personal brand is strong. And I can tell you this from experience. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that probably up until 2020, 2021, I used to talk about so many different things: fashion, beauty, lifestyle, photography, a million different things. But as soon as I started to really hone in on being a creator monetization expert, the amount of opportunities that I've got for speaking engagements, educational opportunities, being featured in different publications, that's when all of that started coming to me. Not when I was talking about 500 different things and was running in 50 different directions. It also makes you the obvious choice when it comes to brand partnerships, and I will stand by this. If you are a brand, put yourself in their shoes. They have $5,000 to spend and they're looking to find a creator to work with long term who's going to help them make that $5,000 back and plenty more. Say it is a creator app that teaches you how to organize your pitch emails. The perfect person for them to chat with would be a creator coach who literally has an audience that's what they're looking for, not a person who talks about fashion and beauty and lifestyle and home decor and cooking and 50 different things because they don't know if they're going to be able to make their money back. For example, again, in that kind of like postpartum mom example we had just given, if you, for example, were a brand who has a specific gummy vitamin that is for postpartum moms, to help get their skin back to normal. I'm literally making this up. I am pulling this out of my ass. If that were the case, would you choose the person whose personal brand is all about helping postpartum moms feel their most confident? Or would you choose the person who is pulled in 50 different directions with their content? It's an obvious choice in so many scenarios for brands because they want to make their money back. They want to make sales. And who are they going to feel most confident to make their sales other than the person who literally talks about their topic 24/7, right? Like it makes sense when we think about this. And again, I think this is why niches are so important. It really truly does open the doors for you to have so many more opportunities, paid opportunities to help you create all these different streams of revenue when you have a really strong personal brand. So maybe at this point you're thinking, all right, fine, you've sold me, I need to make a personal brand, but how do you actually do that? First things first, discover your unique voice. You really need to spend time digging deep to figure out what is it exactly that you want to stand for? What do you want to be the go-to person for? What do you want to be known for? When someone thinks of blank, you want them to come to your page. What is that topic? When I sat down and really thought about this, and this is something that honestly took a really long time for me to figure out. So don't feel bad if you're listening and you're like, I don't know the answer. it may take a decent amount of time. When I started thinking about this, at first as a creator monetization coach, I very often was teaching people how to send pitch emails and how to, do like a ton of emails every month so you can get the most partnerships. And I got burnt out personally from that very quickly. And I didn't want to teach other people how to do it that way because I knew other people were probably going to get burnt out too. And so I started to think about sustainability as a creator. I said to myself, how can I get people the same results? How are we going to get brand partnerships? But we're also going to do it in a way that lets us spend more time with our dogs or lets us spend more time reading or doing the other things outside of social media that we want to do. And so for me, sustainability in monetization is really my kind of unique voice. I find that a lot of creator coaches that are my quote unquote competitors don't talk about pitching and brand partnerships the same way I do. So I realized, wow, I guess the way that I'm teaching it is actually pretty unique in comparison. So try and think about the things that make you different. What is your unique value proposition? Is there a specific stance you have on something important in your niche that is going to set you apart? These are all things for you to kind of take some time to dive into and figure out what is your unique perspective? What is your unique voice? The second thing you're going to do is try and really align your brand with the needs of your audience. And what I suggest doing from today on, maybe for the next 30 or 60 or 90 days, every single time you get someone in your DMs asking you a question, take a screenshot of it. And then at the end of the month, go through all those screenshots and categorize them to see what are people asking you the most questions about? Why are they coming to you? What are they coming to you for? What do they think that you're going to answer for them or provide for them that maybe someone else can't or isn't going to? This was such a crucial step for me because I really realized how much trouble people had with specific topics. And it really helped me figure out exactly how I wanted to answer them. Like it helped me figure out what I wanted to be known for. And it was all of these questions around, I have a 9 to 5 job. How do I make time for this? Or how do I keep things organized? Or I'm having trouble like creating content and thinking of ideas. And I found that all of this really was a conversation around sustainability, and it really helped take home my mission of helping creators sustainably monetize. Remember that unique voice, that unique perspective. So I was able to look at all of my audience's needs and kind of align with what they actually needed, right? Like I'm there to deliver to them. I wanted to make sure that it was something they were actually going to care about. The third thing is to be consistent across all platforms. I truly believe that if you are going to be a really strong personal brand, if someone Googles your name, things about your mission need to pop up. I don't want people to Google my name and get things about like, when I played soccer in high school. I didn't play soccer in high school, but that was just an example. I want it all to be around creator monetization. So how can I get my name coming up in a Google search in as many different places as possible to solidify my personal brand that all have the same mission is for me to be consistent across all platforms or even across all publications or all podcasts. Every time that I come in front of the quote unquote public eye, I want to be talking about sustainable creator monetization because that is the way, that consistency is the way that I'm going to be able to solidify my personal brand and again consider myself and have everyone around me consider me the go-to person for that specific topic. There's also kind of like this visual aspect as well that I think is important to consider. Obviously, as creators, maybe we don't have websites. That's fine. I don't think everyone needs one. Maybe we don't have a website or we don't have a logo, and that's fine. But how can we create some sort of cohesive visual where people see it and then also think of me? So for me, it's the way that I use my brand colors. I bet if I were to quiz you right now and you've been following me on Instagram, you probably know what my brand colors are. There's 3 of them. Pop quiz, send me a DM. I'm curious to see if you can figure them out quick. And it's also, this is sounding kind of crazy, but it's my pink hair. And I know if you're watching this video right now, you're looking at me saying, Kristen, your hair looks blonde. And that's because I need to dye it, which I will do tomorrow. However, my pink hair is like a pretty big staple for me. I know when people see my videos and see the pink hair, it's like, oh, that's Kristen. Like they automatically think of me. It sets me apart visually. So is there something like a background or something you even say in the beginning of all your videos, something to set you apart visually and start to again have that consistency so that your personal brand is being more and more solidified with every piece of content that you create? After you've done these things, it's really time to start amplifying your personal brand's reach. And truthfully, I feel like you guys are going to hate me when I say this because I talk about it too much. Is I think LinkedIn is the best place to do this. I truly, truly do, because LinkedIn is the platform where people want to learn about your business. They want to see how you're running things. They want to see your thoughts and opinions and your behind the scenes. It's such a great place for you to continue to have that solidifying of your personal brand because you're sharing the behind the scenes, because you're sharing, here's the final video on Instagram, but here's on LinkedIn how I created this video or why I created this video. It really helps let people in on what's happening in your brain. And I think does such a great job of bringing more authority to your page and really making it seem honestly just like your shit, right? Like you're really showing the why behind things, and it really helps people, I think, understand a little bit more about why you're doing what you're doing and why your mission is what it is. Collaboration and networking, I think, is another really great way to amplify your personal brand's reach. If you were to get on a podcast, for example, you could do things on that podcast, say things on that podcast that are going to help, again, solidify you as the go to expert for your mission, your niche, whatever it is. Every time I get on a podcast, I'll be asked, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Like, is there anything you'd like to specifically talk about? And I always will tell people that I'd love to talk about the anti-pitch method because that is truly what my personal brand stands on. It is what makes me unique, what makes me different, but it also embodies everything that I want to embody as a creator coach. So I very often, for consistency purpose, and again, really bringing home my personal brand, I'll very often try and talk about that same thing. When I'm networking, I very often bring that up as one of the first things when I am talking to someone. I'm a creator monetization coach who has a focus on sustainability because I personally, as a creator, want to spend more time with my dogs. That's always my example that I give. And doing that has really brought me more opportunity because when I network with a lot of these people, now they know who I am and what I stand for. And it's so much easier for them to say when someone asks them, oh, are you looking? I'm looking for a creator monetization coach. They're like, oh, wait, I already know the perfect one. And she has this anti pitch method, and they're kind of starting to talk me up too. So, having that personal brand allows you to, I think, have an easier time networking, collaborating, because you're truly kind of just saying the same thing over and over again so that it can be spread throughout wherever people are sharing these things or talking with other people. One other thing that I think is super smart to do when you are really trying to solidify your personal brand, I mean, you can literally say the same thing in a million different places on all your social media platforms until the cows come home. But the second it is published by a well-known outlet, it becomes so much more serious at that point, right? Like it's not just you saying it anymore. It is someone who we trust at this outlet that everyone knows saying it. So securing press coverage is such a great way to truly solidify your authority and expertise in your niche. The best way that I've personally been able to do this is truly from relationship building. I have gone onto all the outlets that I want to be a part of or that I want to be featured in or that I want to, have have my name show up in a quote or whatever it might be. And I look at the people who write all those articles and I'm connecting with all of them on LinkedIn. And it's pretty interesting to see a lot of the times that I've been featured in articles. It has been sometimes, hey, I'm working on this article. I'd love to get your opinion on this and have you quoted in here. But so many times, I'll share something on LinkedIn, like an opinion about something that's happening in my industry, and I'll have one of those people at these digital outlets reach out to me and say, "Hey, I saw your LinkedIn post on your opinion about this. It's pretty interesting. I'd like to talk to you more." And honestly, at that point, I usually end up becoming like a bigger part of the article instead of just one quote kind of tucked in there because I'm actually helping inspire that writer to create this piece because I may be offering like a new perspective. So, this is just one of the other reasons why I think, again, it's so important for you to be sharing your opinions and your thoughts and your behind the scenes and your processes and all of that on especially platforms like LinkedIn because it actually may inspire someone to literally create an entire news article about what you are thinking. Like it kind of opens up the doors for them to have a new perspective. When I sat down to create this podcast episode, I felt like it was a very like airplane view of everything about personal branding because I truly think that this is one of the most difficult things that you will do as a creator because so many creators aren't business people. They got into it because they're creative people. They don't necessarily understand marketing and advertising and, like psychology and all of that. But if you can sit down and go through those 5 steps that I just had to write out to you, I truly think you'll be so many steps further ahead than so many creators that I chat with because a lot of creators aren't thinking about it from this perspective. So you can get ahead by being someone with a really strong personal brand and again have these more opportunities, have easier brand partnerships when you're trying to land them, have more press coverage, have more authority and trust with your audience. And having a personal brand is truly the way to do that. I hope this episode was helpful. I can't wait to see you guys again next week and have an awesome week. Bye.